Welcome to our deep dive into Al Pacino's memoir, Sonny Boy. It's a fascinating journey through the life and career of an acting legend.
Definitely, it's really a raw look, unfiltered look at the man behind those iconic roles.
Yeah. We'll be exploring his childhood in the South Bronx, his early struggles as an actor,
Right?
his breakout role in The Godfather, and his thoughts on fame, success, and mortality.
It's remarkable how Pacino intertwines his personal experiences with his artistic evolution in the memoir. You get a sense of how his childhood, those formative years on the streets of the South Bronx, shaped not only his path,
Right.
but the depth he brings to his roles.
It all starts with his childhood.
Yeah.
Pacino's love for acting was ignited before he even knew what acting was. His mother, working long hours, would take him to the movies as a young child. Picture a 3 or 4-year-old taking in films like The Lost Weekend. Story about alcoholism. That's heavy stuff.
That is heavy stuff for
Yeah.
a kid that young.
And yet that early exposure to the power of performance,
Yeah.
seeing actors like Ray Milland embody such raw emotion, planted a seed. It speaks to the impact of early exposure to art.
Yeah.
Think about it, sometimes those seemingly insignificant experiences can leave a lasting impression and shape our passions.
Think about it. Pacino actually describes spending hours in his apartment, recreating movie scenes, bringing characters to life.
That's amazing.
It was acting without him even realizing it. That solitary play, fueled by his imagination, became his first acting school.
That's really cool. It's a
Yeah.
theme that resurfaces throughout the book, the power of imagination.
Parents divorced when he was young.
Yeah.
He talks about being sent to live with his paternal grandparents for 8 months. He was just 16 months old.
Wow.
And the profound impact that separation had on him. He even draws parallels to his own son's reaction when separated from his mother at a similar age.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how deeply early childhood experiences can shape our understanding of relationships
Totally.
and the world around us, doesn't it?
It really does. It underscores the significance of early attachment
Mm-hmm.
and how those early bonds, or lack thereof, can
Yeah.
have a ripple effect throughout our lives.
It's true.
Yeah.
Pacino's grandfather emerges as this stabilizing force
Okay.
during that turbulent time.
Yeah.
He was a plasterer by trade.
Interesting.
And Pacino talks about how his grandfather's dedication to his craft, that intense focus, resonated with him. He even compares it to the focus he brings to acting.
It highlights how certain principles like discipline and dedication are transferable across fields. Whether you're building a wall or building a character,
Yeah.
it's that focus, that commitment to honing a skill that leads to mastery.
And then there's the story of his mother's suicide attempt. He was a young boy.
That's heavy.
This event clearly had a profound impact on him.
Yeah.
Years later, it found expression in his work,
Oh, wow.
particularly in the film Dog Day Afternoon, where a similar scene unfolds.
Artists often draw upon their own lives to infuse their work with authenticity and depth.
Absolutely.
It's real.
He also talks about his childhood friend Cliffy, who represents the allure and danger of street life.
Right.
Cliffy had this fearless personality living on the edge,
Yeah.
but sadly, that ultimately leads to his demise from an overdose.
It's a reminder of the powerful influences, both positive and negative, that shape us during those formative years, contrasting with Pacino's choice to channel his energy into art.
Right. And it was in junior high that Pacino found his artistic calling. He describes that feeling of belonging when he was on stage, a sense of purpose, the joy of performance. It's
Yeah.
that aha moment,
I gotcha.
this is where I'm meant to be.
Like finding your place. Yeah,
It's a powerful moment of self-discovery.
it is.
That realization that our passions can lead us to our true purpose. The path to finding that purpose may not always be linear.
Right,
There might be detours and setbacks,
for sure.
but the pursuit itself is essential. We then move into his early years in New York City. He drops out of high school, faces incredible hardship,
Yeah.
but finds crucial mentors along the way. Figures like Charlie Lawton, who believed in his talent and encouraged his artistic development.
Mentorship is a recurring theme in the memoir,
Yeah.
and it highlights the importance of having guides,
Yeah.
those who see our potential and provide direction.
It makes you think about the people who have played that role in your own life.
Yeah.
Who are those individuals who believed in you when you needed it most? It's huge.
Yeah.
Those early years in New York were rough. He talks about living in poverty, working odd jobs,
Right.
including delivering show business newspapers,
Oh, wow.
all while pursuing his acting dream. It's a testament to his perseverance.
That period reveals his resilience.
Yeah.
An unwavering commitment to his craft.
It's inspiring to see how he didn't allow those external circumstances
Right.
to derail his passion. He describes New York City in the 1960s as this time of social upheaval and cultural shifts.
Makes sense.
He paints a vivid picture of this clash between traditional values and the emerging counterculture.
Yeah.
And it all seems to be swirling around him as he's trying to find his place in the world.
That backdrop adds another layer of complexity to his story. It was a time of great change and uncertainty, and Pacino, like many others, is navigating these societal shifts while also trying to carve out his own path.
And amidst all this, his acting career begins to take shape.
Okay.
He experiences successes and setbacks.
Right.
His breakout role in The Indian Wants the Bronx marks a turning point.
It seems like it.
It earned him critical acclaim and brought him a taste of the recognition he'd been working towards.
It's interesting how he describes those early breakthroughs. He talks about the feeling of validation, finally being seen and acknowledged for his talent.
Right.
But he also emphasizes the importance of continuing to learn and grow,
I love that.
even amidst success.
Then comes the transition to Hollywood and fame, which, surprisingly, he initially resisted.
Really?
He preferred the world of New York theater
Okay.
and felt like an outsider in the film industry.
That tension between artistic integrity and commercial success is something many artists grapple with.
For sure.
Pacino's initial reluctance to embrace Hollywood speaks to his commitment to his craft.
Yeah.
He didn't want to compromise his artistic vision for the sake of fame and fortune.
It's interesting how he describes landing the role of Michael Corleone in The Godfather,
Yeah.
a story filled with twists and turns, almost like fate intervened.
He wasn't initially considered for the part,
Wow.
and it was a series of unexpected events
Crazy.
that led him to that iconic role.
It's a great example of how timing and chance can play a role in shaping White's destiny.
Yeah.
Sometimes those seemingly random occurrences can have a profound impact on the trajectory of our lives.
It's true.
It's true.
His time on the set of The Godfather was clearly formative. He describes learning from Marlon Brando, observing his process and forming strong bonds with his fellow actors.
It was like a masterclass in acting.
Yeah.
Watching Brando embody Don Vito Corleone and those relationships he formed on set, the
Right.
camaraderie and collaboration, that's often what elevates a film from good to great.
Absolutely.
We need that.
But alongside the success came the challenges of fame. Pacino is very candid about his struggles with anxiety,
Okay.
the pressure of public attention, and his battle with alcohol abuse.
It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all can face inner turmoil. His willingness to share his struggles
Right.
makes him more human, more relatable.
Yeah.
It underscores the importance of finding healthy coping mechanisms when faced with overwhelming pressure.
He also addresses certain perceptions that have solidified into truths over the years.
What do you mean?
For instance, he talks about the rumor that he snubbed the Oscars because he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor and not Best Actor for The Godfather.
Oh, wow.
He expresses regret for not addressing these misconceptions sooner. And it's a reminder of how narratives can take on a life of their own,
Yeah.
regardless of the truth.
It speaks to the power of perception and how easily misinformation can spread.
Yeah.
Pacino's story serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us to be critical of the information we encounter and to question assumptions.
He also talks about the complexities of his creative relationships.
Particularly with Francis Ford Coppola during the filming of The Godfather, Part 2,
Right.
he describes periods of creative tension and the inherent challenges of collaborative endeavors,
Yeah.
especially when strong personalities are involved.
Creative partnerships are rarely without friction. Pacino's account of his relationship with Coppola sheds light on the dynamics between director and actor. Their visions can clash, and that tension can sometimes fuel the creative process,
Right.
but it can also lead to conflict and frustration. Sometimes those seemingly disastrous situations can lead to the most memorable moments in a film.
He also recounts an incident where he witnessed an assistant director berating the extras. They had been standing for hours in the heat.
Yeah.
And one extra, an older gentleman, simply walked off the set rather than endure the disrespect.
That's amazing.
It's a small moment, but it speaks volumes about Pacino's empathy and his awareness of the power dynamics at play on a film set.
It highlights his respect for all those involved in the filmmaking process, regardless of their position.
That's right.
He recognized the inherent dignity of every individual, even those in the background.
His honesty about his struggles with fame and the pressures of the industry is truly compelling.
Yeah.
He openly discusses his reliance on drugs and alcohol during that period.
It's a raw and vulnerable account of his journey. He doesn't shy away from those darker aspects of his experience. That honesty is what makes his story all the more powerful.
His journey to sobriety is a testament to his resilience. He talks about attending Alcoholics Anonymous and ultimately finding his own path to recovery.
His experience reinforces the idea that there are multiple paths to recovery and that seeking support is crucial.
That's right.
And it reminds us that addiction can touch anyone, regardless of their status or success.
Moving on to his later career, Pacino clearly sought out roles that challenged him,
Right.
that allowed him to explore different genres and push creative boundaries. Films like Scarface, Dick Tracy, and Scent of a Woman are great examples of his versatility.
His commitment to artistic growth is admirable.
I agree.
He didn't allow himself to be pigeonholed into a specific type of role.
Yeah.
Instead, he actively sought out opportunities to expand his repertoire and take risks.
Scarface is interesting because that's where he really cemented his difficult reputation in Hollywood. He tells this story about a scene where he insisted on shooting at a specific location, even though it was a costly decision. He saw it as essential for the scene's meaning, and he stood his ground, even though it meant losing a day of shooting.
It's a testament to his commitment to his artistic vision.
Yeah.
He was willing to fight for what he believed was right for the film, even at a personal cost.
And that unwavering commitment to his craft is what ultimately earned him the respect of his peers.
Absolutely.
He talks about wanting to capture the desperation and ambition of Tony Montana in Scarface, drawing inspiration from the struggles of marginalized communities.
Makes sense.
It's fascinating how he was able to infuse those real-world experiences into his portrayal of this larger-than-life character.
He seems to have an innate ability to connect with the essence of a character. Find those universal human elements that resonate with audiences, and that's what makes his performances so compelling.
Of course, he also had to deal with some external pressures during filming. He talks about concerns from the Cuban community in Miami about how they would be portrayed in the film.
Okay.
Filmmakers often have to navigate these complex social and political landscapes.
It highlights the responsibility that comes with storytelling. Filmmakers have the power to shape perception, to influence how people view the world. And with that power comes a responsibility to be mindful of the potential impact of their work.
Absolutely.
You have to be careful.
But it wasn't all drama and intensity in his career.
Okay.
Pacino's work in Dick Tracy,
Right.
his foray into comedy,
Oh, yeah.
showcases his versatility, playing this larger-than-life gangster who couldn't resist misquoting famous figures. And then there's Scent of a Woman, the film that finally earned him an Oscar. It's interesting to note that even with this well-deserved recognition, he still felt a sense of detachment from the Hollywood scene.
That recurring sentiment throughout the book, feeling of being an outsider, even amidst success, speaks volumes about his character.
It really does.
He wasn't chasing fame or validation. He was driven by a deeper artistic purpose.
His recollection of the Oscar night is a perfect example of that.
Okay.
He had to leave the ceremony early to fly back to New York for filming.
So he missed out on everything.
He describes this moment of profound clarity on that flight back to New York.
Okay.
A feeling of accomplishment and self-assurance that transcended the awards and accolades.
It's a beautiful moment of self-realization. He found fulfillment in the work itself, not in the external validation that came with it.
His passion for Shakespeare really shines through in his account of directing and starring in Looking for Richard. This project allowed him to explore his love for the bard and bring Shakespeare to a wider audience through film.
It's a testament to his enduring love for the theater.
Right.
He could have easily rested on his laurels, but he chose to take on this ambitious project, driven by a desire to share his passion with others.
And there's a point in the book where he really stresses the importance of surrounding yourself with trustworthy people. He describes a devastating betrayal by his accountant.
It's a sobering reminder that even those in positions of power and success can be vulnerable to exploitation.
That's true.
His story highlights the importance of due diligence. It's a testament to his resilience and ability to find meaning even in difficult situations.
Right.
He doesn't allow himself to be consumed by anger or resentment. Instead, he uses the experience as an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. His reflections on aging, mortality, and legacy are particularly thought-provoking.
Absolutely.
He describes a near-death experience where he lost consciousness for a significant period and talks about the feeling of peace he experienced during that time.
His encounter with mortality led him to contemplate the nature of existence,
Right.
the meaning of life, and the legacy we leave behind. These are universal questions,
They are.
and his reflections offer a unique perspective. He also shares a bit about his relationship with Kathleen Turner. He met her while filming Cruising, but the timing just wasn't right.
Oh.
They reconnected years later during the filming of Peggy Sue Got Married
Oh, wow.
and ended up having a passionate, albeit tumultuous relationship.
It's fascinating how life has these twists and turns. Those missed connections can sometimes circle back into our lives in unexpected ways.
Yeah,
And sometimes even when the timing seems right,
right.
those relationships can still be complicated and challenging.
Pacino tells this story
Yeah.
about almost getting cast in a film directed by Stanley Kubrick. It was early in his career,
Okay.
and Kubrick was considering him for a role
Wow.
in a film that never actually got made. Imagine that, working with Kubrick early in your career. But it also makes you think about the road not taken, the paths we might have followed if certain events had unfolded differently.
Throughout the book,
Yeah.
you see this pattern of Pacino seeking out mentors,
Okay,
these father figures who guided him along the way.
yeah.
We've already talked about Charlie Lawton, but he also mentions Lee Strasberg, the legendary acting teacher.
Strasberg had a profound impact on Pacino's development as an actor.
Yeah.
He even cast Strasberg in The Godfather, Part 2, in the role of Hyman Roth,
Wow.
a character he described as a substitute father to Michael Corleone.
It's fascinating how those real-life relationships and influences find their way into his work. He's weaving those personal connections into the fabric of his characters,
Yeah.
adding layers of depth and complexity.
It's a testament to the power of personal experience.
For sure.
Our relationships, our interactions with the world,
Right.
they all leave their mark on us and shape the stories we tell,
Right.
the art we create.
And he's very honest about his struggles with fame, the anxiety, the pressure, and his reliance on alcohol and drugs to cope.
It's refreshing to see someone of his stature be so vulnerable and open about those challenges. His later career choices reflect this willingness to experiment, to take risks. He wasn't afraid to try new things, even if it meant stepping outside his comfort zone.
Right.
And that's something we can all learn from. Sometimes the greatest growth comes from venturing into the unknown.
And throughout the book, he emphasizes the importance of family. He shares some tender anecdotes about his relationships with his children.
Oh, that's nice.
It's clear that fatherhood is something he holds dear.
It's a heartwarming glimpse into his personal life.
Right.
A reminder that even those who achieve great fame and success still cherish the simple joys of family and connection.
One story that really stood out to me was his return to the South Bronx,
Yeah.
the neighborhood where he grew up. He talks about walking those familiar streets,
Right.
noticing the changes,
Mm-hmm.
but still feeling the pull of his past. It's like the place holds his memories,
Yeah.
even as it evolves and transforms around him.
It speaks to the enduring power of place. Our origins, the environments that shape our early years, they leave an indelible mark on us. Those places can evoke a flood of emotions and memories, even long after we've moved on.
His memoir is more than just a celebrity autobiography. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it as insightful and engaging as we have. Until next time, keep diving deep.